Corruption in the Philippines, a continuing challenge from one administration to the other.
A recent study by a global auditing firm shows bribery and corruption have worsened in the country over the last 2 years.
Filipino health workers are some of the most sought after in the world. But in their home country, many say the government has treated them poorly, and they lack some of the basic benefits and protection.
People have their own perspective of their lives. They can control or do whatever they would like to do if they have the power to control everything in the society where they belong. People of each country believe the wealth can change everything. It can be used for self-desire and can buy the right of one's life, or it can be used for the goods. Going back to the Spanish era, colonial motives were not, however, strictly commercial. The Spanish first viewed the Philippines as the stepping stone of the riches of the East Indies. But even after Portuguese and Dutch had foreclosed that possibility, the Spanish still maintained their presence in the archipelago. The Portuguese navigator and explorer Ferdinand Magellan headed the first Spanish foray to the Philippines when he made landfall on Cebu in March 1521. A short time later met and ultimately dead on the nearby island of Mactan after King Philip II had dispatched 3 further expeditions that ended in disaster. He sent out Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, who established the first permanent Spanish settlement in Cebu in 1565. The Spanish city, Manila, was founded in 1571, and by the end of the 16th century, most of coastal and landfall areas from Luzon to northern Mindanao were under Spanish control. Friars marched with soldiers and soon accomplished the nominal conversion to Roman Catholicism of all local people under Spanish administration. But the Muslims of Mindanao and Sulu, whom Spanish called Moros, were never completely subdued by Spain. Economic and political institutions were also altered under Spanish impact, but perhaps less thoroughly than in the religious realm. The press tried to move all the people into pueblos of villages surrounding the great stone churches, but dispersed democratic pattern on all barangays largely persisted. Nevertheless, the Datuan's hereditary position became subject to the Spanish appointment. Agricultural technology changed very slowly until the late 18th century, as shifting cultivation gradually gave way to more intensive sedentary farming, partly under the guidance of the friars. The socio-economic consequence of Spanish policy that accompanied this shift reinforced class differences. The datos and other representatives of the old noble class took advantage of the introduction of Western concept of absolute ownership of land to claim as their own field cultivated by their various retainers. Even though traditional lands right had been limited to usufruct, these heirs of pre-Spanish nobility were known as Principalia and played an important role in the friars-dominated local government. U.S. consumers to the peace negotiation in Paris had been instructed to demand from Spain the cession of the Philippines to the United States. Such a cession was conferred with the signing of Treaty of the Paris, December 10, 1898. Ratification followed in U.S. Senate in February 1899, but with only vote more than the required two-thirds, argument of manifest destiny could not overwhelm and determine anti-imperialism minority. By the time the treaty was ratified, hostilities had already broken out between US and Filipino. Leaders did not recognize US sovereignty over the island and US. Commanders gave no weight to Filipino claims of independence. The conflict was inevitable. It 2 years and counterinsurgency, welfare, and some wise conciliatory moves in political arena to break the back of the nationalist resistance. Aguinaldo was captured in March 1901 and short thereafter applied to this countrymen to U.S. rule. The Filipino revolutionary movement had two goals, national and social. The first goal, independence, to realize briefly, was frustrated by the American decision to continue administering the islands. The goal of fundamental social change, manifested in the nationalization of prior lands by the Malolos Republic, was ultimately frustrated by the power of resilience of entrenched institutions. Share tenant who had relied to Aguinaldo's cause partly for economic reasons merely exchanged one landlord for another. In any case, the proclamation of a republic in 1898 had marked the Filipinos as the first Asian Filipino people to try to throw off European colonial rule.
It is sad that many of us have died. Many of us become sick, and many have resigned or opted to retire early.
Corruption has been rotted by the years passed by the different presidential administrations. Corruption has been continuous and repeatedly practiced by the different leaders of the society. And it is not new to US. Every leader is shooting about their plans and promises for the better of the country, but most of them have failed to fulfill their rule and promises to their people. Thank you very much.